Hello, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, my name is Emmanuel. In today's video we'll be learning how to use the Pack Geometry Manager. Guys, I really want to know what you guys feel about my videos. Before you finish watching or exit this tutorial, please make sure you drop a comment below and let me know what you feel. Before we take a step into the tutorial, make sure you smash the like button, click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. Welcome back guys. When you hear about Geometry Manager and Tkinter, it's all about how to position your widget in your root window or alongside other widgets. I don't want you to see any difficulty in this, so if you are new to Tkinter, just follow along and ask questions in comment section below if you get confused at any point in time, and you'll be good. But if you are confused about it before now, just follow along like you've never learned it before. So I have a file created already. I'm just gonna set up the root window and skip this part. The way we'll be learning it is by trying to duplicate this button to you. Okay, so this is when the button is not expanded, but when you expand the window, this is what it looks like. Okay, this is easy for you guys to understand it. Just before that, we'll play around with 2 to 3 buttons so I can really explain the concept, and then you can stick along with me to build this layout at the end of this video. Now, the most used and popular attributes of the Pack Manager are fill, side, expand. We have if you watch my video, you should know about the iPad X, iPad Y, the Pad X and Pad Y. So iPad X, iPad Y, just internal padding on the X and Y, and Pad X, Pad Y, external padding on the X and Y axis. We also have the anchor. I don't really use that anyway. Anchor. So it's important to know that you cannot mix Geometry Manager. So let me show you what I mean. I'll create just 3 buttons to get the button. Now we'll do grid. Oh my goodness, roots. And you see text equals to 1 dot pack. Now I'm going to Ctrl Shift D to duplicate that, and then I'm going to change to 2 3. No, if I run this now, let me just add a space at the bottom here. Ctrl B. Now if I run this, see we have our button, but if I change it to grid, you see it says cannot use Geometry Manager grid inside a pack already managed. A slave inside the root window which already has slaves managed by pack. I'm gonna change that back to pack. Now that's something for you to keep note of. But just make sure you know that you can't use the pack and grid manager together. The first thing we'll talk about is, as you can see, if you try to expand this, it's nothing happens. It's just at this up top edge here. Now by default, whenever you add windows, when you add widgets to the pack manager, it aligns it to the top edge here. So as you keep adding it, it keeps adding it to the top here, unlike the grid which adds it to the left. So if I do fill equals to tk.x, what do you think will happen? So if I run this, it will fill the horizontal axis, the x. When I say x axis, this is x and this is y. So if I say tk.fill, oh my goodness, the rain is falling. So if I do tk.x, this one fills the x, but if I do tk.y, it's supposed to fill the y, but I'll tell you why that doesn't fill the y in a minute. You also have tk.boot and you also have the none. So this takes in 4 attributes, 4 arguments basically. You don't have to use these are just constant. You can use tk, you can also use string. So when I say tk.xy, I'm just picking a constant. I can also use string for x. So if I do this, you see it still fills the x, and you can also do it. There are different ways you can do it, but you can choose. I rather prefer constant. So whenever anybody sees my code, you know I'm using a constant from tk itself. That's why I like using it this way. Now why does it not show y? Why does this, let me run it, why does this not expand on the y? Now you must be wondering what's the problem. So the thing is, by default, whenever you create any widget with the pack or manage widgets with the pack like this, your widget is allocated space. Remember that. Okay, so I didn't talk about this. Whenever you create widgets, there's usually space not occupied, space occupied, and space allocated but not occupied. For example, in this case now, this space is allocated to 2. This x, as you might not say it is allocated to 2, but it's not occupied by 2 at the moment, and that's because we don't have a fill of x to 2 to make that occupied. So these are allocated spaces, and that's why my field of x my one can fill the x whenever I do fill equals to tk.x, but cannot fill y because 2, number 1, this is allocated to 2, and 2 also fills it, so you cannot just push 2 off the management. Now, how do we make that work? How do we make sure our widget can still expand? So the fact that we have spaces allocated doesn't mean our widget cannot expand. So the way we can do that is just come here and set expand equals to true. You can use 1 is the same thing as true, 0 as false. These are the two arguments this takes. Now this means we want to our pack manager to assign or allocate more space to our widget. So if I run this now, more space will be allocated to our widget. So when I expand it, as you can see, it fills the X, and this just takes the normal size it would normally, as you can see. Now if I do both, so it should fill both the X and the Y. Now this is space allocated to it by default. Okay, now if I try to expand it, since it has an expand of 1, the window allocates as much space as possible to it compared to other widgets. But what if I want my widget to also take equal spaces? All you have to do is just make sure they also have the expand as well. So this way all widgets will have equal space allocated to it. Now more space. Now space will be allocated evenly to each of them. So they have each amount of space. So as you can see, this is space allocated to 2, but it doesn't fill it up. And this is the space allocated to 3. Now they are evenly spaced. Now so we're just gonna fill those as well. I'm gonna copy this. Control. Oh my goodness, sorry about that. Controls. Sorry, let me just grab this. Control C, Control V, and then we'll do Control V here. So if I run it now, they should all fill equally. So if I run this, you see they all fill well. Now I know I said if you use the expand, each of them allocated the same space. They are all allocated spaces evenly. But this might not be correct all the time. For example, you have an argument, you have an attribute called the side attribute. If I want to place my one to the side of to left, so the side takes left, right, top and bottom. So if I want to place my widget to the side of left, and I do Control B, as you can see it's at the left. But if I expand it, look at this. This takes more space compared to 2 and 3. So what's happening? That's because they are not on the same side. So they only be allocated space evenly if they are on the same side. Now how do we fix this? What you can easily do is just put them on the same side. So I can either put this on the left. Now you notice I'm now using strings and I'm not using the constants. Okay, so if I do Control B now and I put it on the left and I try to expand this, you see this all take even spaces, but this doesn't. So I can choose to use string or just use to left. Okay, just know that I'm going to be using string just to make that faster for me. Okay, but just to make sure you know you can use strings and constants anyway. Now how do we fix this? You can also fix it by putting this on the same side, or you can just put them on opposite sides like this. So if I put this on the right, okay, let me remove a side from this one and then put this on the right. So if I put it on the right, you notice it's on the right now. They will both take even spaces compared to this. So if I also put this on the left or right, okay, it's on the left, so it's gonna show you left. Okay, what if I put this on the right? Okay, let me show you this. Control B. Now you notice the 2 is on the right and the 3 is still at the center, though it's on the right. Now the thing with this is, you must be wondering, since 3 is after this, you should come after this. No, since 2 was created before it, so it has some kind of priority to it. So when I place 2 to the right at this point, at this place, 2 goes to the right. Now if I try to place 3 to the right, you'll be like, come on, I came here before you can't take over. And then 3 just has to stay here. That's how it works. Now for those of you that don't know how the iPad, Pad X, I'm just gonna show you that works here. And if I do, okay, let me put that on 3. And if I do iPad X, I want to put 10 space on the X axis on the size of the button. That's what the X is. And top and bottom of the button, that's Y. That will be 10. So I can also add the padding. So if I run this, okay, iPad is for internal padding, so I'm going to change this. I actually wanted to add external padding, I forgot. So pad X means external padding, X on the left and right as you can see, and Y top and bottom. You get that? So if I expand this now, it expands, but it still has those spaces around it, the external padding both on the X and on the Y. So I can add internal padding to the 1. Let me add that so you can see. So I'm going to do iPad X 10 and iPad Y and put that to 10. So if I run this now, you see this looks a little bit bigger than this. If you look at it, it looks a little bit bigger. So even if I expand it, you notice So this weekend, that's because of the internal padding I added to it. So to make it that really obvious, I can change this to 30 and change it to 30. So if I do Control B, you see this looks bigger, but actually deleted the same space. But with the padding and X, we get to expand our widget. So that's the iPad and that. So as I was about to go, I just thought of, I think better just explain the anchor here. So for those of you that might not be willing to watch the extra one, the button layout I'm about to create, so you guys can just learn it here. So I'm just gonna, what I'll do is I'll remove this fill so it doesn't fill the whole space allocated to it. So if it fills the whole space, let me run this. So if this fills the whole space allocated to it, I might not be able to anchor it to where I want it to be anchored to. So if I do anchor, no command, if I do anchor and I do ticket or not and run this might not be able to be anchored to the not, since this takes all the whole space allocated to it. So I'm just going to take in X so it fills only the X. Now if I run this and I do, as you can see, it's anchored to the not. Okay, now if I did still fills the X, I can do to the Y. Sorry, not that, that's not what I wanted to do. I can put south here, it takes it to the bottom. We can put center, takes it to the center. Okay, and that's how the anchor works. You can just use it to place elements around that way. Now let's get into the building the layout, but the button layout. Okay, looking at this, you guys probably have an idea of how this works already. Okay, you guys probably have an idea of how this works already. Seeing this, must we say okay? Well, we've seen that this probably doesn't expand on the X or on just on the Y and stuff like that. But let's get into it. So for this up here, this is just a frame. So we'll create that. I'm just gonna call that frame. Ticket of frame. Then we'll say root dot pack. Okay. If I run this, we have our frame there. We need to give it a background of yellow. If I run that, okay, since this doesn't allow backgrounds, we're just gonna use the TK frame since we just want to make use of the background. Okay, so we might not see it there now. So what we do here is we're gonna give it expand. We want it to fill TK or both. We want it to fill both the X and the Y, and want it to expand. So more space allocated to it as well. Oh my goodness, sorry, fill. I forgot to put the fill over there. And if I do this, you see it takes in all of this. Now we have that. Next one, let's use the small one. So we have this B. If you expand B, you see B expands, which means our fill is gonna be both and our expand is gonna be true. So we're gonna come here and then we're gonna say ttk dot, okay, the button. We're gonna do root. This is B. So if you want to change tab and windows like this, the shortcut is just Alt Tab. If you're on Mac, just try, I think, Option Tab or something like that. And I can't remember the combination, but it's just Alt Tab equivalent for Mac. You can check that on Google. You can just try it out. So we want to give this text of B. We're gonna come and do text equals to B. Then we're gonna do the pack. Then we want it to fill both X tk dot both, okay, and I want to expand 1. Okay, so if I do this, it should expand that way. Now if I come back to this button, if you notice, this is A here, which means A should come before B. So I'm gonna expand, do Ctrl Shift D and change this to A. Now we have that as A, but A is at the bottom. So how do we do that? All you have to do is just do side equals to bottom. So let's just be consistent with this. So we're gonna be using variables. So I do side equals to bottom. As you can see, it also expands, which it should. I'm going to be using the shortcuts not to waste time. So if you look at this, A also expands. Now the C, let's see what we can do about the C. I'm going to do Ctrl Shift D to duplicate that. We'll just change the text to C. And we have C. C doesn't fill both. Okay, as you can see, it doesn't fill both. It's just the way it is. But it expands. No, it doesn't expand, because if it expands, there will be more space around it. So it just has the default space allocated to it, but anchored to the center. So what we do is we're gonna say, we're gonna leave it that way. If I do Ctrl B and run it, It's just the way it is. So we also have D. I'm going to Control Shift D. Control Shift D. So we have D and E. So I'm going to do E. Shift D. So duplicate that. We're trying to do D and E. So now for D, we're going to do side equals to left. Now if you feel you're getting a heck of it, then you can choose to you can just pause the video and try to create it. If you create it successfully, good. Or you can just stick along with me to the end and ask the questions if you don't understand any of this, anything in what I'm doing. So we're going to do side left. I also want to give this a side of left as well, so I'm going to copy that and paste it here, side of left. If I do Control B, of course we want it to fill. I'm just going to Control here, so we're going to do fill equals ticket of both. I'm going to do Control B. As you can see, it's at the side of left, but it doesn't fill. So we'll come back to that. Oh my goodness, the battery is already 19. We'll come back to that. Okay, and then we have G, FG. So we're gonna do Control Shift D, D, F, and G. So if I run this, Control B. Now this is not at the side of the center. This is just at the center, but it fills and expands. We'll do fill equals ticket of both, and expand equals to 1. So I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it here. Control B. And if I run that, FG, as you can see, now that is what we want. Okay, so let's see if it's the same thing. I'm gonna do Control B. Let's put our image up here. So we have B, C, D, E, F, G. But if you expand this, and let's expand this and see, and then we have the same thing. So you can also use anchor to make sure this is also always anchored to the center. This for the C. And in case you're wondering why did this didn't expand or fill this, let me show what I'm talking about. If I do this and do Control B, in case you're wondering why this was just like this at first without just taking that width, and that's because we are not using expand. Even if we are not using expand here, we're only using the fill, so it's going to take in space. Okay, so if I do Control Z here and do Control B, so now when we due to the expand this as this due to the expand both of them have, so when you do this, more spaces are located, but since this is on the left, it can't just override it. And then so this there's still more space for this to fill. Then this fills it up, and that's why we have this way. Just play around with it and get the help of it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, you should give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on my next set of content. Much love, guys. Peace out.